Worship you, Father. I worship you.
Put your hands.
Word on the streets is that things between Chrisean Rock and Blueface have exploded into a full-blown custody storm. And what's making the whole situation even wilder is the rumor that some of Rock's own sisters might be quietly leaning toward Blueface's side. Considering everything that Baby has already been dragged through, the chaos, the arguments broadcast online, the non-stop drama, and the general instability, it honestly wouldn't shock anybody if the sisters stepped in talking about how they're just trying to do what's best for the child. But everyone knows one thing for sure. Chrisean is not the type to let anyone take her son without putting up a serious fight. And lately, the tension has been reaching a new level. Not long ago, Chrisean was venting about how Blueface would never see their son again. She was crying, talking about how drained she is from all the drama, saying she's done with the chaos and that her baby's father seems to thrive off messiness she doesn't want to be a part of anymore. According to her, everything boiled over after an incident at an arcade where she said she was stomped out and then pressured into barking on a livestream, something she said made her feel humiliated and degraded. She didn't hold back either. She flat out said people who behave like that, clearly referring to Blueface, should be in jail. At one point she mentioned she still needed to go to the hospital because she had bruises on her back, hinting that things between them got physical. She even brought up her brothers, who are currently locked up, saying they would have taken matters into their own hands if they knew what happened. Chrisean admitted that getting back involved with Blueface was a huge mistake and even went as far as saying maybe Blue belongs back in jail or needs to dig himself a grave, showing just how fed up she is. But on the flip side, Blueface has not been quiet. Reports say he made it very clear that if Chrisean thinks she can keep their son away from him, she's got another thing coming. Some people assumed her family would rally around her to protect the child, but allegedly, parts of her family seem to be leaning in Blue's direction instead. For anyone who's seen pictures of Chrisean's family, it's no secret she comes from a huge crew, 11 siblings in total, 7 biological and 4 from blended family situations. Their upbringing wasn't easy at all. At one point, all of them lived in a tiny one-bedroom apartment while dealing with poverty and their parents' struggles with addiction. From the outside, it's hard to tell which siblings she's actually close to, because it often seems like she's beefing with half of them at any given moment. And to be honest, the tension between her and her sisters has only intensified since her son entered the picture. For instance, her sister Tessa, also known as Tene, said she was present during the birth and had permission to hear the medical updates. And according to what she shared online, she claimed Chrisean had chlamydia and refused to get a C-section. She said she watched all of this firsthand and called out Chrisean for choosing a natural birth even though the risks were explained. When someone has chlamydia during labor, doctors usually recommend a C-section to prevent the baby from potentially getting infected, which can lead to serious health issues, including blindness. But according to Tene, Chrisean ignored that advice and insisted on delivering naturally. This wasn't the only time Tene and Chrisean clashed publicly. At one point, Chrisean accused Tene of refusing to give her son back, basically holding him hostage in a tense family situation that escalated to the point where police had to break into the house to retrieve the child. Chrisean said she showed up at the house and waited outside until she arrived, then called the cops. According to her version, Tene was inside with the baby, refusing to hand him over, which is why law enforcement had to intervene. Tene claimed something completely different. She said she had been taking care of the baby for 2 days, and that Chrisean simply didn't show up to pick him up when she was supposed to. Chrisean, however, said she stayed away because she didn't want to get into a confrontation that could jeopardize her ongoing legal issues, so she sent another sister, Tessa, to pick up the baby instead. But that also turned into a mess. Tene posted videos implying that paramedics and cops had to respond after Tessa allegedly had a manic episode. Another sister, Chastity, later said Tessa had a breakdown during the incident and even hit officers. There's more. In another heated moment, Chrisean said she had to flee an entire production set because her sister Latifa, also known as Techie, pulled up on her with a weapon. She said she wasn't going to fight and just ran because the situation escalated too quickly. She also said she was relieved that Zeus Network has all the footage, which she believes will prove her side of the story and reveal who Latifa really is. Chrisean even claimed Latifa pulled up with their other sister, Tene, suggesting both of them wanted to confront her physically. As for the root of the problems with Latifa, Chrisean said she's convinced Latifa never forgave her for talking publicly about what happened between them when they were younger. She said she doesn't expect forgiveness because Latifa holds onto that anger, and that affects everything, including how she treats Chrisean's son. She talked about how differently the family reacted when her son was posted online compared to when Latifah's own child was hurt by a cousin. Instead of showing support, Latifah allegedly sided with Blueface and blamed Chrisean, accusing her of being the issue. Tessa also addressed the family tension during an appearance on the Jason Lee show. She said her relationship with Chrisean has been strained for a while, and that although Chrisean has always had some issues, things became drastically worse once she got with Blueface. She said their mom would call her crying about Chrisean, saying out of all her daughters, Tessa was the only one who could possibly get through to her. But even then, it never seemed to work. There have been multiple public blow-ups between Chrisean and her siblings, and almost all of them somehow involve baby Junior. So with all this family chaos, the rumors that her sisters might team up with Blueface to take the child aren't as far-fetched as some might think. And to be fair, a lot of people online have been questioning Chrisean's parenting decisions since day one. Right after the baby was born, she took him to a loud music studio environment with headphones strapped onto him, and people online immediately criticized her, saying it wasn't a safe place for a newborn with such a fragile immune and respiratory system. Then there were the viral clips of her holding Junior in a carrier without supporting his neck properly, letting his head fall back. That sparked another wave of concern that she wasn't handling him safely. There were also rumors she got banned from Twitch after accusations that she left the baby in a car while she talked to Blueface. Whether that's fully accurate or not, it fed into an already growing narrative about her being irresponsible. People also called her out after she took him into a smoke shop. And then there was a video where she wiped her nose using her son's hair, which had people online questioning her hygiene and common sense. Child Protective Services have reportedly been called multiple times by strangers online. There was even a petition started by people who don't even know her personally, titled Protect the Innocent, calling for CPS to step in. CPS calls happened again when videos circulated showing Junior alone in a stroller on the beach at 3 a.m. There were calls when viewers felt he didn't look safe during her live streams. And not long ago, she and her ex-boyfriend went live from a hotel room that was trashed, filled with alcohol bottles and nitrous oxide tanks, with the baby present. That new situation only added fuel to the fire and made the public even more concerned. So honestly, when rumors popped up about her sisters and Blueface possibly teaming up to take custody of the child, a lot of people weren't exactly surprised. But of course, Chrisean is not backing down. She recently said that anyone who speaks badly about her son always ends up facing consequences. She named Blueface, pointing out he's been locked up for 2 years. Then she mentioned her ex-boyfriend, saying he passed away after people spoke on her child. She said she doesn't have to do anything because God protects her and her son, and she warned people to stop talking about Junior unless they want to risk their lives. With the rumored custody struggle, the sisters allegedly shifting toward Blue's side, and a baby caught in the center of all of it, the entire situation is starting to feel bigger than typical social media drama. And if something official eventually happens, whether that's custody court, CPS involvement, or the family stepping in, not many people will be shocked. The real questions now are what people think should happen, whether the child should be removed from Chrisean's care, whether the sisters are wrong for allegedly siding with Blueface, and who is genuinely the most stable guardian for baby Junior.